why do you think that you have a great chance to win this?
I mean, I got the answer. I'm not giving it to you. But I got the answer why I feel like we got a great chance.
The Cavs have a serious problem. Everyone and their mother knows about it by now, thanks to the subject being talked to death by anyone who even follows basketball casually. Since this is such a glaring problem, I'll only discuss it briefly. And when I mean briefly, I mean using one word: defense. When you have a starting lineup that consists of 2 bad defensive players, 2 decent defensive players, and 1 player who can play defense at an elite level but doesn't choose to, you get the Cavaliers starting roster. The Cavs, at the time of this recording, are at a defensive rating of 109.4, which is the worst out of all of the teams remaining. Only the Blazers, Thunder, Grizzlies, and Pacers had worse. So it's really bad. And most of this isn't against a high-powered offensive team like the Wizards or the Celtics. Most of this is against a team who signed their 3rd leading scorer like 2 weeks before the season ended. And a lot of this has to do with just abusing Kyrie and Kevin Love. These 2 aren't the greatest defensive players in the world, so all you just gotta do is a pick and roll on them, then they'll likely switch given the Cavs' defensive mentality. Once that happens, the point guard should be able to blow past Love with ease. The point guard should be able to blow past Love with ease. The point guard should be able to blow past Love with ease. The point guard should be able to blow past Love with ease. The point guard should be able to blow past Love with ease. The point guard should be able to blow past Love with ease. Should be able to blow past Love with ease. And then get a layup or dump it off to the big man or something like that. Since Tristan Thompson is their center and he's only 6'9", while he can rebound a lot, he doesn't really provide that much rim protection. To show you how that really affects the team, let me give you a stat real quick. In contesting shots 6 feet away from the basket, the Cavs are only better than the San Antonio Spurs, who have LaMarcus Aldridge and David Lee in their backcourt, and the Jazz with a hurt Gobert, 4 of the teams left in the playoffs. While some of this you can put the blame on bad defensive effort, most of it has to do with the roster. Minus the secret that the Cavs are keeping, their tallest guy is 6'11" Channing Frye, who is not going to help you on the other side of the game. I mean, he's only there to shoot threes. And unfortunately, Frye is also the heaviest man as well. So basically, they have no strength down low. Remember at the beginning of the season when everyone said that the Warriors might be bad because they didn't have any big, strong 7-footers? Well, basically that's what's happening to the Cavs right now in these NBA playoffs. As Golden State showed they could be an elite defensive team gradually, little by little throughout the season, at the same time, the Cavs started to be viewed more as a bad defensive team throughout the season. Now Golden State is one of the top defensive teams, while Cleveland stays at the bottom. There are a couple reasons for this. First and foremost, Draymond Green. A Swiss Army tool and Defensive Player of the Year candidate, he runs Golden State's defense. Then there's Klay Thompson. When you have a 6'7" shooting guard who normally guards the point and does it well, you're going to be fine. But if LeBron really wanted to, he could be a Draymond on defense. Iman Shumpert isn't 6'7", but he can lock down anyone from Damian Lillard to Paul George. But now here's something that the Cavs don't have at all. The Warriors have 2 7-footers on their squad, 3 if you count KD, Zaza Pachulia and JaVale McGee. While these 2 can't really do much else, they're good at one thing, and that's being big. Sure, these 2 might not be the best rim protectors on the planet, but in the Golden State defense, they're there to clog up the paint, make sure that no one can get an easy bucket like if they just had Draymond at center. What they basically are big players doing big player things. As for the Cavs, they don't have any of that. I mean, their tallest player is literally as tall as the Warriors' small forward. They're gonna have a tough time getting rebounds against the Warriors, and that flaw is already showing in these first few games. In only the first round, they struggled to get rebounds against the likes of the 6'8" Thaddeus Young and the 240-pound center known as Miles Turner. Right now, only the Celtics, Spurs, and the mainly Gobert-less Jazz are grabbing less rebounds. While they're still the favorite to come out the East, in order to get past the Warriors, the Cavs desperately need more defense and rebounding. Now, if they only had a player that could do both. Enter Eddie Tavares. On April 12th, the very last day of the NBA regular season, the Cleveland Cavaliers signed veteran Dante Jones and a D-League Raptors player who had won Defensive Player of the Year for the 2017 season. Apparently, the GM saw potential in Tavares. Now, he wasn't a dude who was putting up 40 in the D-League or anything like that, but he has something that LeBron knows that his team needs, and what he tried to get with Andrew Bogut and Larry Sanders. That thing that he's trying to get? It's size. Walter Eddie Tavares stands at a whopping 7'3" along with a near 8 7-foot wingspan. On the same day he was signed, he played his first game with the Cavs, where he recorded 6 blocks and 10 rebounds. And sure, that stat line is amazing, especially considering that he went from playing on the Bootlegs Raptors team to going up against the likes of Kyle Lowry and Norman Powell. However, you can tell that he isn't refined in any way, shape, or form. He has a little bit of a post-up game, as he finished that game with 6 points on 3 of 4 shooting, all from the post. But other than that, the only thing that he's really good at is being big. In fact, good is a little bit of an understatement. Despite only starting to play at 18 years old, he's used this size to become a professional, and quite well, I might add. Anytime he puts his hands up, anyone driving to the paint, no matter how tall, is going to alter the shot in front of him, cause those arms are so long. The only real hope is to blow past him and hope that his gargantuan arms are unable to reach the ball, and even that is difficult. While he is a little slow-footed, his strides are long enough to compensate. He wouldn't even be all that bad at a track meet. Even with all that though, he's not going to be any help at all on the perimeter, which might be a problem with the Cavaliers' hedging and switching mentality on defense. However, his interior D makes up for that and then some. In the paint, he's a top tier guy who averaged 2.7 blocks a game during his stint with the D-League. And then there's his rebound abilities, which are obviously a given considering his size. However, he isn't one to be lackadaisical on the glass. Even before he was an American pro, he had the fundamental box out technique pretty down pat. Combine that with his 7'9" wingspan and his 7'3", 240-pound frame, he has the potential to average over 10 rebounds a game, which is something Kevin Love has only done on the Cavs. Now you can definitely argue that he won't get any minutes. Coaches typically play the top 8 guys in the playoffs, guys they can trust. Even in the 2015 finals, Delly came out of nowhere, but he was still a top 8 guy on the Cavaliers in that regular season. And we're assuming that the secret weapon is going to be shown for the first time in the finals, since the Eastern Conference still isn't on the level of the Cavs, even with this glaring defensive chink in the armor. It's blasphemy to play a guy who's only played 1 game for your team in the NBA Finals, basketball's biggest stage, and it's not like he's a seasoned veteran. He's only 25 years old and doesn't even have extensive NBA experience. How could any NBA franchise allow this to happen? Well, my answer to that is simply that we're in a new age of basketball. If you told someone 10 years ago that there would be a team that would attempt 43s a game, they would scoff at you. If you told them that there would be 2 prime MVP caliber players on the same team, they would laugh at you. But where are we now? Like I said previously, the Cavs have tried to get this rim protection before. First they try with Andrew Bogut, whose specialty is rim protection, but he gets tragically injured 2 minutes into his first game. So then he gets cut. Then the Cavs try again with Larry Sanders, a guy who hasn't been in the league for 2 years. And before he was out of the league, his specialty was, guess what? Rim protection. Unfortunately, he doesn't pan out either, so he gets cut too. Just the fact that LeGM is willing to call upon his former enemy and a guy who's been out of the league for 2 years for this one purpose shows you how far he is willing to go for it. Is it enough to snag someone out of the D-League in the last day of the NBA regular season? I think so. But then there's another question to be answered. Will it work? Well, certainly we are in a new age of basketball, but experiments can fail. We've seen the Nets crash and burn, and the 2010 Lakers was something that happened. This could easily be a mistake that could end catastrophically. I mean, this dude has been barely exposed to the NBA environment, let alone the playoffs, and let alone the finals. The pressure could get to him and he could perform poorly the entire series, fouling out and the like. Draymond or KD would eat the man alive. To trust someone so inexperienced against arguably the best team in 2 decades on the world's biggest basketball stage is just a bad idea. I would agree wholeheartedly as well if it weren't for this one reason. LeBron and his Cavs know they aren't good enough to beat the Warriors. Their method of out-offensing everyone and not committing to play on defense won't work with the Warriors, since they can keep up or exceed that offense and then go up on the other end and lock down on defense. If the Cavs even want a chance of taking the dubs on, they're gonna have to get creative. And what better way to get creative than to sign a D-League guy on the last day of the season, play him 1 game, which he breaks team history in, then keep him away from the court until game 1 of the NBA Finals where he records 9 rebounds and 4 blocks. Of course, there's a chance he can't keep it up at all and then ends up being no help or even a negative effect on the team, but the Cavs have to take that chance. Why? because they're looking for any edge they can get on against the Warriors. LeBron is the player that looks for any little edge that he can get on his opponent at any time. So that means he'll sign a guy with little to no NBA experience on the last day of the season to go up against the Warriors? I mean, sure, why not? Even if Eddie completely fails, the roster the Cavaliers have at the moment will likely not even be able to win 2 games against the Warriors. To LeBron, he feels like there is nothing to lose from this. At its worst, they still have everyone on their original roster. At its best, they might just be able to beat the Warriors. But of course, I could be completely wrong about it. Maybe he's there to scare the team, I don't know, just there because team morale, I don't know, they need someone big to be there. I have no idea, but anyway, if you think that I'm stupid, bananas, nuts, whatever you think, leave it down in the comment section below. Just tell me why, please. If you agree with me, put it down in the comment section below and tell me why. If you have anything to say at all, just leave it down in the comment section. And also, I'd like to request one more thing. If you liked the video, please do the obvious thing. And with that, I am out.
They know that I'm ballin'. James on time Coughlin. Beat the odds, never thought it. Blast off like the Rockets. Now I got dough in my pocket. Getting bucks, meal walking. And how can I worry about haters when I'm triple-doubling the profit?